Section 10.4 focuses on secant, cosecant, and cotangent and learning what each of these ratios become. So for defining cotangent, cotangent is when we take cosine over sine. So cotangent starts with a C, therefore C goes on top, cosine goes on top. We're going to use the identity for cotangent to find each of the angles. So they're all based on the 45, 30, 60, and then we have the axes. Based on all of those, we can figure out every other one. So let's take a look at the first one we have. So cotangent of 45 degrees. So when I take a look at my left hand, I put down my 45 finger. We have square root 2 over 2, comma, square root 2 over 2. Goes cosine, comma, sine. Cotangent, cosine goes on top, so we have square root 2 over 2 divided by square root 2 over 2. Therefore, my answer is 1. For a cotangent of 30 degrees, take a look at our left hand, put down our 30-degree finger. So we have square root 3 over 2, comma, 1 over 2. Goes cosine, comma, sine. Cosine goes on top for cotangent. So we have square root 3 over 2 divided by 1 over 2. So we're going to change our division by keeping the first, flipping the second, and it changes to multiplication. The 2's are able to cancel out, so therefore we're left with just square root 3. For cotangent of 60 degrees, take a look at our left hand, put down our 60-degree fingers. We have 1 over 2, comma, square root 3 over 2. Goes cosine, comma, sine. So we have 1 over 2 divided by root 3 over 2. And we're going to change division into multiplication by keeping the first, flipping the second. The 2's are able to cancel out. However, we cannot leave that root 3 in the denominator. So we multiply the top by root 3 and the bottom by root 3. And we get square root 3 over 3. So notice that these 3 are the exact same answers as for tangent, except that tangent of 30 degrees is root 3 over 3, and tangent of 60 degrees is actually root 3. So these two flip. But if you do the math, you'll understand that it just ends up being the opposite. Just do the math every time. So therefore, let's keep going. So cotangent of 0 degrees, that's on the axes, right here. So therefore, we have 1, comma, 0. So cosine, comma, sine, cotangent, cosine over sine, 1 over 0 is undefined. Let's do another one on the axes. Let's do cotangent of 90 degrees. So cotangent of 90 degrees, that's up there. So we have 0, comma, 1, cosine, comma, sine. So we're going to take 0 over 1, which equals 0. Let's take a look at another one on the axes. So cotangent of 180 degrees, I'm just drawing a little grid so that I remember where 180 is. Remember 0, 90, 180, 270, 360. So we have negative 1, comma, 0, cosine, comma, sine. So we have negative 1 over 0, which is undefined. And for the undefined answers, anytime that you type that into your calculator, any number over 0 is always undefined. So let's take a look. So let's go back to the beginning. So we have 45 degrees, 30 degrees, and 60 degrees. So let's go through and just write out each one of these. So starting with cotangent of 120, if I were to make a little grid, 120 is really close to 60. Drew it in the wrong color. It's really close to 60. There's 120. So 120 references 60. And because it's in this quadrant, it's negative positive. So we have negative 1/2, comma, positive square root 3 over 2. So we have a -1/2 over a positive square root 3 over 2, which gives me, it's going to be a negative number. And we have negative square root 3 over 3. Take a look at cotangent of 210. If I draw a grid, 210 is really close to 180 along that x-axis. So therefore it references 30 degrees. In this quadrant, it's negative, negative. So we have negative square root 3 over 2 comma negative 1 over 2. So we have negative root 3 over 2 divided by negative 1 over 2. We already did the math above, and a negative divided by a negative is actually a positive answer. So we have positive square root 3 as our final answer. Cotangent of 300. If we take a look, I'm going to draw a little grid. Cotangent of 300, I'm thinking that's really close to 270. It's 30 more than 270 degrees. So therefore it references 60 degrees. And in this quadrant, it's positive, negative. So we have positive 1/2 comma negative square root 3 over 2. So we have cosine divided by sine. And we already did the math above. However, a positive divided by a negative is going to be a negative number, a negative root 3 over 3. Let's do one that goes along with 45 degrees as a reference angle. So 45 degrees is anything that ends in a 5. So cotangent of 315, that ends in a 5. So therefore I know that it references 45 degrees. 315 is in the fourth quadrant where it's positive, negative. So we have positive root 2 over 2 comma negative square root 2 over 2. Goes cosine comma sine. So I'm going to put positive root 2 over 2 divided by negative root 2 over 2. And we get negative 1. And it keeps going from there. If you would like practice all on your own, you can take a look at the practice sheet and practice all of these. I'm going to post the rest of the answers in the content library. And this is for cotangent. So cotangent is cosine divided by sine.